So looking back, I see there's a few videos that don't actually show the screen. They show the picture of me. So let's go over a little bit of what I was talking about in the previous video, just to share that. Right, go to the site plan. So I'm going to show you the site plan first of all. So what I did was I went to the surveyor site plan. And what they have is they have marked topographic information as well as others information, but they're telling me the elevation of the ground at this point here, 964 feet above sea level, 966. And so what I have done is taken that, and if we look at it in 3D here, and I click on the site, it's the easiest way to edit the site. I found that to select the site in order to edit it is simply select it in 3D and then say edit the surface. Now you can see there's all these little points that have been placed there. And if we go back to the site now, we can see those points. And what I did, and I didn't need to record this anyway, and I didn't record it except for just a little bit right here, just to show what it is like to actually do that, put these points in. But really what I'm doing is I'm placing a point and I'm assigning an elevation to it. Well, how it is. Now I said in this particular system, because I didn't set up my levels appropriately for this particular site, that I said 964 is 0. And when I put that into the site and modeled it and took a look at my site, I could see that 0 did not provide what I wanted, which was a walkout basement here. So what I did was I took the entire site and moved it down 2 feet, so that 964 is no longer 0, but it's -2. And basically what I'm doing is raising the house another 2 feet out of the ground. And what I want to do is make sure that I have some place on this house, in the rear of the house, where you can actually walk out onto the site. And in order to accomplish that, I had to raise the house up a couple of feet higher than I normally would in order to have a walkout basement in this situation. So one of the first things you see is that I have brick and then I have exposed basement wall. And that's because the ground tapers away. And I haven't accommodated for that in terms of the brick ledge on the house. And this would be the normal brick ledge on the normal constructed house, with the grade being 2 feet below the first floor all the way around the house. And that's how my walls are constructed. But in this case, I will not have that option. I have to drop the brick ledge down low enough so that the ground, so that the brick actually goes down to the grade level, because we don't want to see exposed basement wall. Another thing is you can see that I have my grade here. It's almost below the pad footing. So, and these places where the bottom of my footing needs to be, at least in Michigan, 42 inches below the surface of the grade. And that's for frost purposes, that in the wintertime, the frost does not go below 42 inches into the ground, which means that if we put a footing 42 inches into the ground, then the frost will not go that low and be able to push the earth, push the structure up, because the force of the frozen ground can be very, very powerful and actually raise up the structure. We don't want that to happen. And you've kind of seen what happens when you leave a bottle of water in the freezer too long, and it expands. The water expands as ice, and it often breaks the container that it's in. So you want to make sure, of course, to get that container out of the freezer before it melts. So we're going to do the same thing here. We'll have to change these footings to a different type of footing that go at least 42 inches into the ground. But I'm not going to do that because at this point, because the client hasn't seen the sketches yet, and it's possible that they won't like some things or many things or everything about the sketches, and so therefore I'll have to change it. So to lower the brick ledge is a complicated process, which I don't want to do until the client says, yeah, I like where the walls are located. And at which point then when I start to do the construction documents, I will in fact lower the brick ledge so that the bottom of the brick is at the grade. Brick is not a good material to put below grade. So we don't want our brick to go below grade. So what'll happen is my brick ledge will step up. It won't be the same level all the way across because we don't want brick below the grade. If that happens, it needs to be waterproofed like you waterproof a basement wall. Or else the brick will deteriorate, and the brick is a material that is in compression. And if you and it carries the weight of the bricks above. So if you let that brick deteriorate, then its compressive value goes away, and the brick above will push the broken brick or deteriorated brick down, causing cracks in the brick above. In the mortar, usually not in the brick. Usually the cracks occur in the mortar. And the reason they occur in the mortar is a weaker material. And as the wall moves, we'll see the cracks in the mortar more often than we'll see in the bricks. If you see the cracks in the brick, then that would generally indicate some very serious structural issues there that would definitely need some attention quickly, because the brick is a good compressive material. All right, anyway, so that's why one of the reasons that I like the 3D views from Revit from Autodesk is that it gives me a chance to see things that I haven't done maybe a little bit differently that I wouldn't notice if I were just looking at the floor plan. And one, of course, is that I can see that these surfaces don't line up, and that'll have to be addressed. And it's pretty much this, I'm lining up the face of the wall with the face of the brick on the second floor area. The brick has the wall on the first floor area, which is the wall is recessed. So you can see that it's impossible for those walls to line up unless I do something here. So I have to deal with that. Now here, on this point right here, this definitely needs to be attended to, because I don't know what that issue is, but those walls could easily line up on top of each other, and they don't. So that's the value of the site work and the 3D rendering. So I'm just going to go back to the site now and just show you basically what I did. It's very tedious work, because you just set the elevation of the points, and then I just put the points where the grade is. So the surveyor has put some points here, or some lines here representing the topography, and I put them there. So let's see what we can do here. Get this corner. This guy is saying 954.19 is that point right there. So I might put that at 954, but remember, I had to delete 2 feet off of that. So this guy the surveyor went actually over into the property next door to get some points there, which was nice, but I don't need those. But anyway, if I wanted to place a point, we said that was 964 was 0, but then I moved everything down. So 964 is -2. So 966 would be 0 now. So let's follow that till it hits the property line. If it does, here we go, 966 right here. So I'll put a point that's actually, if that makes sense, It is actually 0. As I said, 964 was my 0 point to begin with. And then I moved everything down on the grade 2 feet, which is essentially moving the house up 2 feet. So 964 became -2. So 966 would be 0. So if I wanted to put a point at the property line, which is right here, that's where I would put my 0 point. And it crosses back over again right here at 0. So I put those 2 points in there. And say okay to that. Save the project. And now let's go back and look at it in 3D. Okay, so that's the garage side. So there you go. Put a couple points in right over there, which raised it up a little bit. So this is helpful to show me what the topography is. Normally, that would not be an issue, but the topography wouldn't be such an issue. I'd be able to excavate or modify the topography a bit. But remember, this site has a wetland and woodland preservation area, so I really can't sculpt the site as I probably would like to in a normal situation, because I can't disturb many parts of this particular site. So we'll stop here.